Hi, this is Dave Kettlewell, your host of mastersofharmonica.com. And this video goes into the notes that you're going to find on your harmonica and how you can find them. And it also talks a little bit about something called the slide. So let's get started. I'm going to use as the example a 16-hole chromatic harmonica. And if you notice, each hole here, 1, 2, 3, 4, that would give you an octave. What's an octave? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And it gives you the accidentals too, which are the sharps and flats, like do, da, re, da, mi, the ones between those diatonic notes. So these 4 little holes here between the draws and the blows give you a full octave. So, and the holes repeat themselves. So this would be the second octave. So you have, this would be the first octave here, and they're lower in tone. And then the next octave, same notes, but higher, an octave higher. Now here's the third. And the really high one. So as you go up on the harmonica, the notes get higher, and as you go down, they get a little lower. And it's kind of fun to do this. It's easy. You can do... Something doesn't have to be hard to really sound great with the chromatic harmonica. So you can play around with that. And so let's go over now what is the note pattern on a chromatic harmonica. And just so you know, if we were sitting at a piano, middle C would be C4. It's called C4. So 1 octave lower would be C3. And that's where this harmonica starts, is at C3. So if you blow on that first little hole, that's a C. It's actually C3. Okay, what's the next note in the diatonic scale? I drew on that first hole, and that's a D. See if you can guess what the next one is. If you guessed E, you're right. So we've done C, D, E. E is a blow on the second hole. So what have we done so far? We blew on the first hole. That gave us a C. We drew on the first hole. That gives us a D. Now, that's the second hole, and it was a blow, and that was the E. Now, if we draw, because that's what we call them, blows and draws, if we draw on that second hole, that's an F. And the next one on the third hole, if we go to the third hole, would be right, G. Okay, so what do we have so far? C and D, E and F, G. What's after G? It starts all over again with an A. So there's the A. And then now it kind of changes because we're not going to blow on this fourth hole. We're going to draw, and that'll give us a B. And then we go back to the C, 1 octave higher. So that's in the first 2 holes. And again, it was blow, then draw on the first hole, blow, then draw on the second hole, blow, and draw on the third hole. And then it switches, draw, blow on the fourth hole to give you the last 2 notes. So let me give you the whole scale up and down once. And we're starting at C3 all the way at the left-hand side of the harmonica. That would be a C. That would be a D. That was a draw on the first hole. Second hole, blow. That's going to be the E. Draw on the second hole would be an F. Now, what's coming next? The G. That's the third hole, blow. That's a G. And then draw on the third hole, which is an A. Now remember, when we get to the fourth hole, we don't blow to get the next note, we draw. So that's a B. And then if we blow on that fourth hole, we get back to C. So let's put them all together. And let's go down. Now, these ones are harder to play on than these and these. So it's a little easier when you start over again at the fifth hole and the whole thing repeats. Isn't that wonderfully simple on a chromatic harmonica? It's the same pattern. So here's from the fifth hole. Then that would be C4, of course, is where I started. That would be middle C, and those were those notes. Now, it starts over again on the ninth hole, which is, so here we go. That's 3 octaves, and there's one more still on a 16-holer. We have the top 4 holes, and let's listen to those. So it's 4 diatonic scales up and down that repeat themselves. And that's the way this instrument's laid out. And you might have been wondering, what's this thing that's called a slide or a button? In all instances, whatever note you're playing, it raises it by a half tone. Whether it's a draw, whether it's a blow, it raises it. So you can get a chromatic scale. What is a chromatic scale? Well, that's all the notes that are on a piano. And it would go from C to C sharp, also called D flat, then D, then you've got D sharp or E flat, and then you have E, and then you would have an E sharp, which is actually an F, okay? And then if you have the F and you push the slide in, you're going to go to F sharp, which is the same as G flat. And then the next note is G, and if you push the slide in, it's going to actually take you up a half tone, which is G sharp or A flat. Then the next note is A, and when you push the slide in, it's going to take you up a half note again, so it's going to be A sharp or B flat. The next note would be B, okay, and you push the slide in, it takes you to C. And that pattern is what you get on a piano. So let me play that for you, a chromatic scale. And down, blow, draw, slide in, draw on the next hole. That's A, G sharp, G, F sharp, F, E, that would be D sharp, D, C sharp. So that's a chromatic scale and a diatonic scale. That's a good thing for you to be working on as you work on scales and the notes on the chromatic harmonica. What I want to do now is to show you 2 techniques just to let you know that they exist. And if you want to learn more about them, we do have series on these topics. So what are the 2 things that we're going to be talking about today?